We are here today because together with a group of scientists, citizens, local initiatives, we try to learn from each other on the opportunities of local initiatives on food and agriculture. So we have seen a very promising initiative called Foodpark, where they really try to put the role of urban agriculture on the agenda, defending the area around the Lutkemeerpolder from being taken over by distribution centers. And I think this is a really powerful initiative, and we're here with a large group of people to discuss and learn from each other on how we can learn from and stimulate these types of initiatives.
Now, when we talk about post-growth city, we're really doing something very specific. We are combining the social justice issue with the ecological justice issue. So we're saying something very simple, is that to be sustainable, we need to be socially just. And to be socially just is sustainable, or rather ecological.
Right, how to connect urban residents, city dwellers, to the land, to food that's grown on and in the land, and to other types of life that dwell on the land. And how can we create more space for that? Right? If we really want to make a shift, we have to rethink our cities.
So we need something very different, and we believe convivial conservation can be a very an alternative kind of paradigm.
But also human-nature connections that go deeper beyond, just the occasional butterfly here or there, I think is critically important, and we need to fight for that.
Urban agriculture is political, and this has to do with the politics of land. Land is something that everyone wants. There are many claims on the land, especially in urban areas where land is very scarce.
We overemphasize our fascination with the technical aspects of alternative food production. We focus on how to produce with less pesticides. We focus on different types of agricultural practices that might be better for sequestering carbon. Without the land, there is no sustainability transformation.
Many sustainable farmers, they have only the right to stay for 1 year on the land, and if they're lucky, a little bit longer. If we only have 1 year, we're not very much stimulated to actually make any sustainable investments, like investing in the soil, like planting trees, because we don't know if we will be able to make use of them in the future. And next to that, it's a threat to our livelihoods, right? Because we are building a small market of consumers there. We're putting a lot of energy in the farm, and then to hear, well, that you maybe have to leave and start all over again. It's very difficult.
I think Foodpark Amsterdam for me is really, an example of the kind of possibilities that you have when you think more deeply about human-nature relations in cities, right? And how that perhaps could grow from one particular example to other cities, but also within the city of Amsterdam.
Put on the table here that we need not just one food park, we need at least 10, maybe 15, right, as a goal.
The city government is trying to thinks that it has to make money with this part of the land, whereas this commons movement thinks it should be a place where we provide for food. And this is a place for commoning, for citizens to be engaged with the food production.
The conclusion is if we want to move forward, we have to stop extraction and things have to be regenerative.
So I think the Foodpark Amsterdam brings together a lot of, in this little 60-hectare land, all the discussions are there.
When we're talking about a food cell park, we're not talking about a food cell park. We're talking about a way to organize the city that is socially inclusive, just around food, but also at the same time sustainable, right? And I think that's the spirit that needs to be taken.
The preparing of food and the preserving of food can be very good tools in helping people to get back to this commons-based relationships. The kitchen can also play a very central role in the food cell park.
The post-growth idea, it's all about, on the one hand, meeting basic needs, and at the other hand, reducing excess.
We launched the main co-op, which is a cooperative for commons-initiatives, only yesterday. So, and one of those commons initiatives is Foodpark Amsterdam. And I think this movement has a lot of leverage. I think this is our future. But the system that we're living in at the moment is definitely not ready for that.
Conservation for us increasingly, or at least mainstream conservation, we increasingly see that as part of the problem rather than the solution moving forward if we want to have a more sustainable planet. It's never really questioned an economy based on growth, capitalism. And the second point is that most of its solutions, its main solutions, separate people and nature.
You have to build this movement on the top of real practices. So it's not an abstract thing. People are actually doing this. It takes a lot of time to govern a commons together.
Is that we need to join social movements before we can invite them to participate in the research, before you can actually start even thinking about what would a fair and equitable collaboration look like. You need to invest time and effort to understand what you can contribute and how you can contribute.
Imagining this future, what would it look like? That's where we want to move towards, and even if it means becoming an oppositional movement, not just an alternative, even if they build the distribution centres there, even then I think we still want to show what that means and what we are losing.
We are facing a lot of problems, and these problems over the last few years have actually become worse, right? With the problem of climate change, the problem of the rise of extreme right, but also the problem of land, and this is making it more and more necessary for us to unite, right? We as peasant movements, but also with urban movements, and maybe with other movements as well, to really address these problems.
We walk until the walk turns into a run, our feet completely deep in the ground until we become the soil. And the soil is us, it's me and you.